Hello, everybody, and welcome to It's the Big One. It's the view from the top. It is the big reveal. It is the show where we are going to reveal who are the top 100 most admired global mobility professionals in the world. Michelle, are you excited?
I cannot wait. I haven't seen a list. I haven't seen the list yet, Brian. So I am super excited.
We have kept this so under wraps, We've got some wonderful guests there. They've not seen the list either. No one's seen the list. We are revealing this live on air. Oh my God, it's so exciting. So if you're out there in LinkedIn world, we want to know who's there. So you know the format by now. Join the conversation, write in the conversations box. We want to get a record number of people. So we got Denise from Chicago. Hi there, Denise. Have we got more coming in now? We're getting more coming in.
Sure Jill do. We've got they're coming in so fast.
That's excellent. That's so exciting. We've already got over 150 people live. I think this may well be. We're going to go for a record number of guests on there. If you're out there, just say hi. We want to know who's there. As we build the excitement, we know it's going to be super exciting as we build the excitement. And not only is this going to be a huge amount of fun, you get educated as well. So we're going to have a blast today, and you get educational credits because we are approved for all sorts of credits. Let me just shove this up here. We're approved for GMS credits. We're approved for CIP, HRCI, SHRM credits, you name it. Wherever you get your credits, you can get one here today. We will be giving out the code later on, and you can see on the code later on who are the people, how you actually get to the code you need to register. But people are coming in from all over the world. Michelle is working.
Brian, I cannot keep up.
Finger. Yeah, it's so exciting. Anyway, let me just take control of the screen a bit. I just want to say that what we've got is today's show obviously is the big reveal. What we're going to do is we're going to release live on air the top 100 global most admired global mobility professionals in the world. Now remember that this is the corporate list. These are in-house professionals only. We're going to be doing later in the year, we're going to be doing a similar list for service providers. But this is the corporate list. And in fact, what we're doing, just to tease you all, is we're doing the reveal in 3 stages. Today, we're going to reveal the top 100. Next week on the show, we're going to reveal by region the most admired professional in that region. And we're going to have a discussion with them on the show. We're going to talk about the regional perspectives in mobility. And then to end up, as we end up towards the holidays, and it's our last show of the year, on December the 16th, we're going to release who is the most admired global mobility professional in the world. One person. We're going to release one person's name. Okay, so if you're liking the show, if you're excited, we want as much audience engagement as possible. So hit the like button, the thumbs up button, hit the heart button, hit the applause button. I want to see a record number of those coming through. And as we reveal the names, if you see names of people that you love or you like or you really respect and admire, then again, hit those buttons, hit the heart buttons, hit the like buttons, hit the applause buttons, and put comments in there. So it's very, very exciting. As I said, what we're going to do today is the big reveal of the top 100. Next week, we're going to do a regional reveal. And on the 16th, we're going to do the big global reveal. So
we're almost at 300 people, Brian.
Wow, this could be an all-time record for us. Okay, let's see how far we can push it. Okay, over 300. That's so exciting. So I think people know what this show's about, and they know what the top 100 is. But before we get started, just a reminder of the top 100. So this is the show. Michelle has gone backstage. She's working fast as fingers, putting out all the comments as they're coming. There are so many comments. In a moment, we're going to be introducing all our wonderful guests. We've got some great guests who are our partners, our sponsors. It's wonderful to have them on the show, and we're going to bring them on in a moment. But one question people ask me quite often is, how did you decide who are the top 100? I mean, isn't that an impossible task to decide who are the top 100 global mobility professionals? So let me explain the methodology. And the first point I suppose I must make is that I didn't decide who is in the top 100, nor did any of our partners decide. This is simply decided by you. We had a people's vote. We had over 1,800 nominations, over 400 separate people submitted nominations. As I said, we had 1,800 different people being nominated. And those votes were simply tallied. Every legal vote was counted, as they say. Some votes, I'm afraid, had to be, there were one or two sneaking in that we had to take out, where there was multiple voting for the same person by the same person. But don't worry, our software, we're good at tech, we caught those. So we've got everybody voted, all the votes have been counted. And so this is not a list that is my list or any of my guest lists. This is a list that has come from the crowd, from the cloud, from the ether, call it what you want. It has come from our world. And I'll tell you, one of the things I found, and obviously I've seen the list and I know you haven't, so I'm teasing you a bit, but one of the things I found when I looked at the list was actually, although I knew a lot of the names on there, and I think I'm pretty well connected in this industry, there are actually quite a lot of names that I didn't know too. And I think one of the learnings to me is that we all live in a bubble. And we all live in a bubble where we think we know a lot of global mobility professionals, but actually there's a lot out there in different bubbles. And this was a very big global list. So that was the methodology. As I said, it went out there. It was essentially, there was a people's vote. We also had what we called a power vote, which is people who'd previously been on the show, and we gave them a slight weighting. But it was all very, very transparent. There's no subjectivity in all of this. It was all very objective. So what I want to do now is to bring on our guests. We've managed to partner with some wonderful organizations. We've partnered with AIRINC, with ECA, with Fragomen, with Benivo, with Rocket Mortgage, which in the US is Quicken Loans, and with Weichert. So, you know, it's been absolutely fabulous, the people who've partnered with us. But let's bring on those guests now. Welcome everybody. It's so great to have you on the show. So Julia, where are you today?
I'm in Winchester today.
Excellent. And Morgan, whereabouts are you?
I'm on the south shore of Boston, Massachusetts.
Cool. Cold?
It is not that cold here. It's been awfully warm lately.
Okay. And Mark, where are you?
Cold Detroit, Michigan. I haven't been outside yet, but I can just see it's cold. We finally got our first snow of the year, so I'm not eager to get outside anytime soon.
Okay. And Dave, where are you?
Here in Morris Plains, New Jersey.
Okay. And you're in the office, aren't you, David?
I am. Yes.
Everybody else in the office, or everybody else working from home?
I'm fairly alone today.
Yeah. And Emma, where are you?
From home and in Grey Ealing, London.
Okay, and then we've got Nitsan as well. So Nitsan, good to see you again. And you're in London too, I'm guessing.
Yeah, not that far from you.
Absolutely, we're close neighbours. So it's really it is so exciting. So let me just actually I'll start off with some facts. Actually, I might just ask you some questions. The top 100. Okay. Which countries do you think are going to be on the list? You know, where do you think? I mean, how global is our list? I'll give you a clue here, and ask the audience too. At the top 100, we've got people from 13 different countries around the world. Okay, now I'll be interested to see whether you can sort of guess which are the countries. Indeed, bonus points if you can guess the order. Okay, no bonus point for guessing which is the country that's got the most number of people on the list. Okay.
It's got to be the United States. It's got to be
the United States, and you're right. Okay, what about second place?
UK.
Correct. Okay, you're doing well. You're doing well, and I haven't seen it. Okay, now it gets harder. What country do you think came in third place for number of people on the list?
Singapore.
Singapore.
Oh my God, you're so good. You're so good. Okay, and then anybody want to guess number 4, the fourth country?
Switzerland?
No, they did make the list, but not in fourth place.
I'm
The
Italian,
Netherlands.
so I've got to put in something for Italy.
Italy, no, in fact, I'm afraid Italy didn't make the list. I'm afraid. I'm sorry, Emma. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll put you out your misery. Number 4, and you'll kick yourself, is India. Okay, the countries that made the list, I said 13 countries made the list for having people who hit the top 100, and they were the United States, in order: United States, United Kingdom, Singapore, India, Switzerland, and then after Switzerland, the Netherlands, Hungary, Australia, the Philippines, Germany, France, Canada, and Brazil. Okay, so it's a pretty global list out there. I'm quite pleased about that, and I think that also probably reflects where our people are themselves, in the people who voted, as well as obviously how they voted. So that's very, very exciting. Oh my gosh, I see we're up to nearly 400 people now live. This is so exciting. Okay, now within the US, I'm just going to carry on with this whilst we're talking about a fun fact. In fact, did I even do this? Let me just put this in. We always have a fun fact on the show today. So the fun facts today are actually about the top 100 themselves. So we've talked about the countries. Okay. The US, we all know the US is the number 1 country in the world for global mobility. Okay. Now, my question is this: which state is the number 1 state for the top 100? Anybody want to guess where we had the most number of people from on our top 100 list?
In honor of Michelle, I have to say New Jersey.
Yeah, I would have said New Jersey too.
Likewise.
You did well, but you're wrong.
Oh.
Okay, in fact, you couldn't be more wrong. Okay, you're completely the wrong coastline.
California.
California had the most number of global mobility professionals on it that made the top 100 list. Okay. one other question, then we'll start revealing some of the list. Oh, somebody asked me on there, could I repeat the list of the countries? So I can just put that up there. These are the countries that people are from. Okay, so a pretty good mix of countries around the world. Okay, what are you expecting when we show in terms of gender balance? What do you think is going to be the proportion male to female, female to male on our top 100 list?
Of course, more women, more women.
Yeah, are we all agreed on that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually, the list is actually 58% male, 42% female.
That way around, Brian, I think.
58% female, 42% male. Is that right? I say it the other way around. Whoops, sorry, I'm too excited. Sorry, is the other way around. Okay, so
Keep him in check, Nitsan. Keep him in check.
absolutely, you do that. So, are there any more comments coming in? Yeah, I see comments are coming in from the audience. Michelle, do put some on screen as we go through. But actually, do you? Here we go. Here are the comments coming up. So, do you want to actually start seeing who's on the list? Are you interested? Shall I show? Okay. Well, what we're going to do is I'm going to show it alphabetically. I should say that we're not saying, somebody is number 23, somebody is number 47 or anything like that. We haven't gone to that level of granularity. All we're saying is, are you on the top 100 list? Okay, so we'll start showing it now. We're going to show it in 4 separate videos alphabetically, because to show you one long video, I thought might be too much. Although if you want to see it, we have got one at the end we can show. When you're watching it, and this is to everybody out there in LinkedIn world, do pay attention, because to get 25 videos, 25 people in 2 minutes is obviously, you've really got to keep focused in on it as we go through. Okay, well, here are the first 25 people who made our list in alphabetical order. And by the way, as it starts out in the audience, if you like the names, you're excited, hit that like button, hit the heart button, hit the applause button. We want to get to an all-time record number of likes and admires and everything we get. So here we go. Here are the first 25 on the list. So that's our first 25, and and looking at some of these comments out here, for Martin, congrats everyone. Marietta. Great work for these professionals. So we're getting some we're getting some comments out there, and I'm guessing, did anybody know everybody on the list? I'm guessing nobody knew everybody on that. On that, and I mean, it just, again, it shows the sort of bubbles that we all live in. But it's very, very exciting. I'll be releasing a bit later on in the show the website where you can actually go and look at it. And what's lovely about the website when we release it is that you go on it and actually you can see details of the person and you can congratulate them directly online. So I'll show that in a moment. But what I want to do before we release some more names is I just want to ask the question of, we've got all these great professionals on the show. What makes a great global mobility professional? What are the factors? I know, Morgan, you've done a bit of research on this at AIRINC, but what makes a great global mobility professional?
So are you asking me to comment?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. I mean, first and foremost, they know how they add value to their organization. They know what their mission is, and they deliver on that every day. I think another important thing is that they're client-centric. They know what they, value, the employee values, the business values, the enterprise values, and they deliver on that value. Another really important point is that they're collaborative. They know how to work across the organization, but also with all of the partners and vendors that they use, and they engage that marketplace of individuals in a really strong way. And they know when to leverage a provider versus, doing something in-house. And lastly, they know how to demonstrate their value with analytics and by closing the loop on their mission and whether they're delivering on that. And lastly, they love what they do. And apparently, according to your intro video, they're all very good dancers.
Yeah, okay, that's really interesting. I was trying to make you big screen, and it took me a while to get you there, Morgan. But I think it's a fantastic bit of research. I mean, Dave, from your perspective at Weichert, what are you seeing in terms of what makes a great mobility professional?
Yeah, I think three things for me come to mind. The first is they're curious. They have an interest in always trying to learn new things, trying to put themselves out there, which is always a win-win proposition, right, for those that are in the profession and those they work with. So that helps, I think, success quite a bit. I think they're creative and they co-create. So they don't try to always go it alone. They work with others and try to come up with ways to create new and innovative ways to do things differently. And innovation is a big part of our success, I think, as an industry. When we work together, we get the best outcomes. And I think they're calm. I think they're focused on partnering. We're in a fairly intense business where things will arise and challenges will come. And when those professionals demonstrate they're at their very best, I think it's being resolute and reassuring and calm and looking together to solve problems, both to take care of ultimately the customer, but also to meet their organizational goals, whether it be a supplier or a corporate. So I think those are the three C's, if you will, that come to mind. Okay,
that's really interesting. And Mike, let's just bring you into the conversation. Mike, I mean, obviously, you're with a financial services company. I suspect that compliance is a really big issue for you. I mean, what about the compliance aspects of the role? And do you think that having a good calm approach to managing risk is a vital factor to make the most admired list?
I would think definitely. I mean, there are so many skills, I think, that truly go into an individual that makes this list. I know a lot of them were mentioned earlier, but just that technical skill set of what a true top global mobility professional needs to know as it relates to whether it's tax compliance, immigration, payroll. There's so many different things that go into it. In fact, and I think, one of the things that stands out most to me is just being an effective communicator. There are so many different people that a global mobility professional has to communicate with, whether that's individual transferees, folks within their own organization. They're kind of really great storytellers as well. I think that's one of the characteristics I see with a lot of the folks that came across the list is people that have a way of getting their story across so that it comes across in sort of an influential way to be able to drive the results that they're looking for, but also drive the results that the organization is looking for. So I think just being high-level communicators is one of the things that really stands out to me so far with the list that's been revealed.
Okay,
and that includes not only internally but externally with suppliers as well. Sorry to add, just being effective communicators with the entire global supply chain that exists out there, and knowing who those folks are, but also understanding what resources are available, I think is extremely important.
Okay, and just bringing Emma into the conversation. I mean, from your perspective, when we're talking, you're at ECA and you have, obviously, thousands of clients around the world. So you must see it, from a great perspective there. And what are you seeing, when you see a mobility professional that you really admire? What is it about them that you admire?
It might be a bit of a personal view here, but especially with the last 9-10 months in mind, I think what I have particularly admired is finding the right balance of technical competences versus emotional intelligence. So I think one of the big ask of the last few months has been showing compassion. And on top of being resourceful, creative, and actually I quite echo everything that has been said so far, but that perhaps slightly softer side, I suppose, of the emotional intelligence, and particularly the compassion and being capable of empathy, I think has been key over the past few months. So that's just to add it, I suppose, to a list of great skills that has been mentioned so far. Also, generally speaking, there's a big demand to be an all-rounder, to know a bit of everything, and to come up with excellent problem-solving ideas, I would say.
And I'm just looking at some of these comments that are coming up, and I mean, the word empathy is out. I mean, you mentioned empathy. I think somebody else mentioned it in the comments. I saw that, and we got Natalie here. It's people recognised both by their peers and by the providers because they share and partner to innovate and have a deep knowledge in all the international mobility area. What I'm going to do now, actually, because I think, would you like to see some more names? Shall we?
Yeah.
We'll do our next 25, and then we'll continue with this discussion about what makes a great global mobility professional. So we've got a few more C's left. We started with A to C, and we did the first 25. Got a few more C's left, and we're going to go up to J now in the alphabet. So let's see a few more. Okay, so we're halfway through the list. I mean, I'm just so excited. I knew what the list was before we started, and I'm just seeing all these hearts and applauses and likes coming from the audience. I mean, and people are just, I think people are seeing the names out there, and and after what's been such a rubbish year, I think people are really getting excited about sharing some good news. It's so exciting to see all these names out there. Let's just continue that conversation about what makes a great mobility leader. And I'll just I'll address this question to you, Julia. Technical competence might be, and they're obviously, I know, you've been with one of the big four firms, and you're obviously with Fragomen, and your background obviously is you're the guru, as we know, every week of immigration. We bow down to you with your immigration expertise. I'm trying to make you blush. But how important is really good, rock solid technical knowledge to be a great global mobility professional, or can you flag it and rely on your advisors?
Well, I think you have to have a core of knowledge, but really the secret is how to use your vendors and your providers. I agree with what everyone has said, but it particularly resonated to me about the softer skills, the interpersonal skills, the calmness, when I've been with clients in crisis management situations, being empathetic, calm, and also the being agile and really able to sort of think outside the box and pivot, not be frightened to pivot and be agile. And as long as you know roughly, where to go when you need expert help, then I think that's where that's the position. Because in a way, the broader the knowledge that you have in some situations, the better. We've seen some fantastic examples during this pandemic. Outstanding examples of global mobility professionals, doing the most amazing things, and underpinning the whole sort of strategy of companies, because people are everything, and everyone seems to have risen to the challenge most amazingly.
Yeah, so what you're saying, I think, is that you've got to have good technical knowledge, but you don't have to know everything. That it's much more than technical knowledge. It's that sort of.
I think Tracy very kindly said exactly what I meant.
So let's see what Tracy said. I agree, Julia Onslow-Cole. It is about knowing your global expert team and knowing how to empower them and to be a good leader.
Yeah.
I think I'm not sure who it was, but someone said the secret of good leadership is to surround yourself with people who are brighter than you. Great. So, Nitsan, from your point of view, you're coming at this from a tech focus. How important is being tech savvy and being open to new ways of processing things important to being a really top flight global mobility leader?
Yeah, I would separate between the two, being tech savvy to being open to technology and innovative. I don't think you need to be tech savvy necessarily, but you need to have that desire to how can we continue to improve? What's new? What can we do next in order to not stay where we are, right? Because everything is continue to progressing and chasing that. I agree a lot with, the points that everyone shared before, especially Dave, about innovation and that important. The one thing I would add maybe for that is also important is also the ability to share knowledge, right? Whether it's what we know correctly or incorrectly, what we do, benchmark that. And that's also impact a lot those who made it to the list, because none of us here on the show are those who on the screen are those who selected those that are in the show. That was selected by a big audience of people who must have heard. So I'm sure that they might be great professionals that are just potentially not sharing enough their knowledge or not having enough opportunities to speak out, whether it's in events or in shows like that or this or in other opportunities. But that's probably another important skill in order to make it to the global mobility top professional list.
Absolutely. Here's an interesting comment that'll be from Nicola. He says, global mobility professionals have the world at their fingertips. The global economy wouldn't be possible without them. No challenge is big enough, not even the pandemic. That is such a positive message, because, we wonder about how mobility can get a seat at the table. And actually what Nicola is saying is that the table is ours. We have the world at our fingertips. Does that resonate with you guys? Dave, where would you be on that?
Yeah, I think it's incredibly uplifting, and it's actually true. We talk a lot internally about the impact that we have and what we do each day for the companies that we are supporting, and the great work that they're doing. And the pandemic has heightened that with the numerous participants in the recovery and the efforts we're under with vaccines and the positive things that are happening. And I think that, we do have a seat at the table, and I think this year has highlighted that. So in the midst of what's been a really challenging time, I think it's brought mobility to the forefront of just how critical it is. And, the reminders around the value of immigration, the values of what we do as an industry to increase talent and to, bring other people and to be flexible. When you think about how much our industry, both as suppliers and as clients, has changed to have to react to being remote, and in some cases fully remote or hybrid. I think it just shows that mobilization, the ability to react and change, is something that's inherent in what we do. And I think it was on great display this year.
Absolutely. I mean, we're getting a lot of people agreeing with that comment from Nicola. And Julia, you were nodding your head. Would you like to come in on that?
No, I just think I just so agree with what's been said. I mean, I think that, we're in a fantastic position, to make real influence in companies' plans. And I think it's been proven the worth of what we've been doing, all of us, through the pandemic. But now we're entering a new post-pandemic phase, and I think it's very exciting. There's so many opportunities now.
And we're going to get some of these winners on the show, later on this year and next year. Nice comment there from Peggy. I see that. Awesome winners. Congratulations to everybody. I love when we can lift each other up in our industry. And I mean, just maybe going to you, Emma. I mean, talking about lifting people up, and obviously, we're beginning to be a bit more positive after the rubbish of this year with the vaccine in sight and all that. But, where do you see it going in terms of mobility taking that seat at the table, and using the pandemic to, it's a terrible thing to say, but using the pandemic to our advantage, to leverage our profession. Where do you see that? How do you see that coming through, Emma?
It has definitely been a bit of a trait of the last few months. So I agree with the general comment around having had enough of the doom and gloom, and this being a real occasion to stop and celebrate and also acknowledge achievements, I would say. We've seen it with a lot of our clients at ECA. All of the names that have come up on the screen so far, those I know, and I'm sure those I don't know either, all deserve recognition for how they reacted to what we've been through. And just one more thought around what makes a great global mobility professional. I think somebody also mentioned it in the comments. It is that willingness to continue learning. And gosh, it has been a steep learning curve for everyone. So in terms of what we see coming up, there are so many companies that are really raring to go, that have been preparing and are really just waiting for a window of opportunity. And for backlogs to be cleared. There are others who actually tell us we never stopped, and that's also obviously great to hear. So it is definitely a climate of perhaps cautious optimism, but still optimism that we are seeing at the moment in comparison to what things were like even just a couple of months ago.
Okay, and Laura put up a comment here. We had it on screen. I'll just bring it back up again. I wonder if the world at large understands how incredible the mobility industry is and how all of these amazing people have done miraculous things this year. Mike, from your perspective, do you think that people do understand how incredible the mobility industry is?
Is that a trick question? I think the people that are in the industry that live it day to day, absolutely. I think we all realize the challenges that we've had to deal with, and problem solving is one of those terms that jumps out at me again, and being adaptable and flexible, I think, as Dave said, but having that future vision as far as where we still need to go. I think that's one of the challenges that we've heard over the years, is continuing to broaden that reach throughout the organization, to have a seat at the table, to be meeting with all the other influencers, whether it's the C-suite level or the talent recruitment, and continuing to share sort of what our worth is, or what a global mobility professional's worth is in that space, because really they are the glue that ties everything together. Without them, the businesses don't accomplish the goals that they're looking to seek out. They can't recruit the talent that they want. So I think that's just the challenge personally that I think when I talk to most mobility professionals, they're continuing to strive for is having that seat at the table, leading with confidence, being an influencer within their organization to help the organization meet those high-level goals.
Absolutely. Oh, I should actually. A big shout out to you, Mike. I know it's your organisation that's helping us with the CHRM and the HRCI credits, so we really appreciate it. I think everybody else out there. I'm getting a bit of echo. I don't know if others are, but if people could go on mute if they're not speaking, that would be helpful. Who wants to see some more names? Should we go for our third lot of 25? Yeah, I expect everybody wants it, and I expect they want in LinkedIn world. They're probably sort of accusing me of teasing too much. So let's show you. We've done A to C and we've done C to J. So we're now going to do K to P. So that's our third lot of 25. And remember, these aren't in any order other than alphabetical. So that's 75 down, 25 to go. I'll give you some more fun facts about them. Oh, hang on, I need to do the fun fact thing. Here we go. If it's a fun fact. So some more fun facts. We've talked about the fact that it's, I think, 58% female, 42% male. What about years of experience? I mean, it's quite an experienced bunch. Anybody want to take a guess how many years of experience our typical member of the top 100 group has? Or the
18.
Sorry?
15.
18.
Actually, it's more than that. I'll tell you, the average year's experience is 22 and a half years experience to make the list. That's the mean. For those of you who like this sort of thing, the median is 21 years. There is actually a broad range. The person with the least number of years experience is, I won't say who, but has got 6 years. And the person with the most has got an extraordinary 39 years experience. But on average, they've got 22 years. Interestingly, the men on the list seem to have more experience than the women. On average, the men had 24 years experience and the women 21. So maybe that means it takes men longer to get to the same level of admiration and respect from their colleagues. But I mean, interesting stuff. And by the way, you know, if there's people out there that you know, I know a lot of you doing it, please do congratulate them and say all that, you know, and put it out there. You know, we really want to get the love out there in this wonderful, wonderful industry. Here's another comment from Nicola. You're on fire today, Nicola. These are great comments coming in. Nicola said, people usually think we only do paperwork and permits and the like. The big part of working in this industry is problem solving and above all, creative thinking. I mean, you know, I think to me, when people criticize mobility folk, I've heard mobility be criticized as the function that likes to say no. That, you know, they just tell you why you can't do something, why you can't do that on assignment. There's a tax problem, there's an immigration problem, there's duty of care, whatever. But actually, I think what makes a truly great mobility person, you know, we've said so many things, but one of the things out there is that ability to get away from the paperwork and actually do the creative thinking. Is that something, you know, I know you guys brainstormed it a bit, Morgan, at AIRINC, but is that one of the issues that came out when you were looking at it, this ability to have creative thinking?
Absolutely, and I do agree that people used to think of mobility as, you know, just a function that did an operational role and relocated people, the relocation department. But it's become so much more than that. And really, we're now at this place where, you know, we talked about the seat at the table, where we can help deploy the right talent for the right reasons, and help companies select the right person to send for the right outcomes. And so I really think that we're there, and this is mobility's time to shine in 2021.
Okay, just looking at some of the other comments coming in, I can see, you know, a lot of the sort of the love coming in there, people congratulating individual people and the likes. But what about, let's look at it from another perspective. To get into being a top professional, what's the best route to become a top mobility professional? How do we get into the industry? I mean, you know, how do we make it to the top in the mobility industry?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that one. I mean, I think that's one of the benefits of our industry that's sometimes overlooked is so many of us come from different backgrounds, and there's so much diversity in where people begin and how they make their way into mobility. If you're someone who possesses some of the skills that we talked about thus far, I think it's pretty clear that there's a path in mobility to become a great mobility professional. If you have those collaborative skills, if you're innovative, if you're creative, if you're empathetic, all of those things that, you know, we've talked about can help move your path forward in an industry. And whether you come from the supplier side or the corporate side, or even a different function within a corporation, I think the idea that, you know, you can contribute your past experience to something as important as mobility is an available path. And one of the things that, quite honestly, I think our industry needs to continue to do a better job of is how do we attract and you know, retain the best and brightest people for our industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we need to find a way to train people up. Actually, I'll give you another fun fact out there. I mean, which is that we actually did some research about the top 100, where they trained. Okay, and one of the things that came out is, well, actually, I'll ask the audience too. I mean, you know, how many do you think, what percentage do you think trained with the big 4 accounting firms compared to an RMC, compared to going directly into an in-house role?
50.
50 what, with the big 4? Mm-hmm. Okay, others, what do other people think? You know, where did you think people might have trained? Okay. And wait to see if anything comes in from the audience. There's always a time delay with the audience here, but we'll see what they say. But actually, I can tell you, because we've done the statistical analysis. If you take the top 100, 32% of them trained with the big 4, 18% trained with an RMC, and 50% went a different route, typically an in-house route. But so it was 32% big 4 and 18% RMC. Of the RMCs, Carter's was actually the RMC that most people trained with top one. But second, but actually Dave was Weichert / MI group, and then others were came in below that. In terms of the big four, the most common firm, if you like, alum firm for people getting to top 100 was PwC, and then following that in order was Deloitte, KPMG, and EY. But all the big four collectively, as I said, accounted for 32%. And then, I mean, another question we asked was, well, what about their education? Was there a university that people go to become top 100 people? Do you think there's any common university that anybody went to?
I wish there was. We'd have a recruiting table right now.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, no university had more than 3 people on the list. Okay. But there were 2 universities that did have 3 people. One was Fairleigh Dickinson University, which Michelle told me was actually in her hometown in New Jersey. And the other is Eastern Illinois University. So those 2 universities both contributed 3 people to our list. But beyond that, there's no great university. There is actually one educational qualification that is relevant. What do you think that might be?
ERP.
Yeah, the ERC, GMS.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's a question. And I hope there's people out there from ERC watching this today, because you're in for some good news. What percentage of the top 100 have got the GMS qualification? Any guesses? Any guesses?
80%.
Not quite. No, the answer is 70%. So 70%, well, actually, it might be more. 70% actually had it on their LinkedIn profile. So there might be others who got it and just haven't put it on their LinkedIn profile. We've just done this off LinkedIn profiles. But so, yeah, so an amazing 70% have got GMS. We ought to show you the last 25, actually. Time's running away from us. So let's show our final 25. These are the R to Zs. So that's the top 100. Now, I know one of the questions people are going to ask me is, that's all very well just putting it out on a video, but how actually do we get to see? So I said we had a website, and I'll see if I can just pull it up now. So this is the website, everybody. And the way it works, I think it's rather cool, actually. Let me just pull that up. This is the website of the top 100. The URL, if you just go to top100.benivo.com, or indeed you can go to, well, there's a full one, but that's the easiest one. Go to top100.benivo.com and then you'll find it there. And you can scroll down and everybody is there. All the top 100 are there. And when you go on it, you can go on anybody. So I'll pick somebody at random. I'll pick David Carmichael at CGI. So you click on their name, and you've got a profile about them, a little bit about their previous experience, but also go on that button at the top and you can click congratulate, and that allows you to send a message through, and that will go through directly to them, and it will appear on our website, on the Top 100 website. So you can send a congratulations through. So it's a lovely, I think it's a lovely tool, and I do encourage everybody to go onto it. As I said, the website is I'll see if I can actually pull that up now, give you that. But the website is top100.benivo.com. So that's all really, really exciting. Here we are. I'll just put that up on screen. So there's the full one, top100.benivo.com/corporate-21. But if you just go to top100.benivo.com, you will find it. So that's really, really exciting. The other thing we're going to do is, as we go out, we're going to play the full list. So if you haven't seen it, do join with me. And we are going to play it's a shortened version, but it'll take 4 minutes of your time, everybody, and you can see absolutely everybody coming up. So here we go. So that's it. That is our top 100, and we're pretty much at the end of the hour. So all that really remains is for me to thank wonderful sponsors, partners, friends in the industry, to Emma from ECA, to Dave from Weichert, Julia from Fragomen, from Mike from Rocket Mortgage, Morgan from AIRINC, and of course my colleague Nitsan from Benivo. Many thanks to all of you for your support. And many thanks, of course, to everybody who's actually made the top 100 list. I know none of you knew about this. This was a surprise for you. But, you know, we all are grateful for all the great work that all of you do, and indeed everybody else in the industry. And as we come to the end of the year, this worst year that for God knows how many years, this worst year, you know, we look forward to next year with excitement and hopefully with a vaccine as well. And it's all looking positive, surrounded by these great people. We're back next week when we're going to be a regional focus, and we're going to be talking about who are the regional most admired people in each region. And then the week after that, we're back with who is the overall most admired global mobility person in the world. But meanwhile, all that remains is for me to thank everybody and to thank everybody on LinkedIn. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thanks. Goodbye.